Hello there. The European Union aviation sector and airports must be ready for a no-deal Brexit, says the EU Commission. In a significant move, the EU Commission is warning the remaining EU 27 member states to ready their airports for a no-deal Brexit. Now, this is a very positive development for Brexiteers because it dumps the lie by the Remainers that no planes will be flying between the EU and the UK should we leave the European Union without a trade deal. Otherwise, they would be telling the airports to prepare to scale back, wouldn't they? The warning came during a June 12 meeting chaired by Filip Cornelis, the Director of Aviation at the Commission's Transport Department, attended by EU 27 diplomats and representatives of their civil aviation authorities, according to 3 officials present, reports Politico. Now, should there be no specific aviation agreement, which is a separate matter to the Brexit trade deal, then the flights would cease, and it is the EU Commission that is at fault here, as it has refused to engage with the UK to sort this out. In fact, they seem to be using it as a negotiating weapon, instead of trying to ensure flights continue between the EU and UK to our mutual advantage. Anyway, looking at the Politico report, I get the feeling that a post-Brexit aviation deal will be forthcoming. It's just what happens at each end of the journey in the airports that will change. Now, isn't it strange that there is vast support in the Labour Party grassroots for Corbyn, and also vast support for an anti-Brexit stance to be taken by the party, as evidenced by their activities in London over the weekend? They want the Team Corbyn socialist agenda, but don't realise that not only is Corbyn pro-Brexit, but leaving the EU fully is the only route for them to be given the virtually unfettered power to tax and spend the UK into oblivion in the quest to transform the UK into their Marxist nirvana. They don't seem to realise that remaining in the EU would mean subjecting just about every line of their renationalisation scheme to EU Commission scrutiny, with a sound answer of no coming back just about every time. The EU is more akin to the old Soviet USSR, but controlled by big corporate business, than it is to any grassroots socialist utopia. And momentum is thankfully going nowhere while they pursue this pro-Corbyn anti-Brexit approach. They are merely playing tug-of-war with themselves. Now on dodgy referendums. The Electoral Commission has issued a report recommending ways to tackle candidates and campaigners breaking rules for elections and referendums when using online campaign methods, especially social media. The use of social media was first heralded as a positive revolution in the mass engagement of voters. More recently, we have seen serious allegations of misinformation, misuse of personal data, and overseas interference. Concerns that our democracy may be under threat have emerged, says the report. And it comes out with 17 recommendations to deal with the problems, covering the use of imprints for online material, to severely tightening up funding rules, to sweeping new powers to be given to the Commission itself. Now there's a surprise. Just on imprints, things get interesting. When you get a leaflet through the door or see a poster for an election campaign, it must, by law, have what is known as an imprint on it, saying who promotes it and who the printer is, with names and addresses for both. But imprints aren't at present a legal requirement for online materials, such as videos, Facebook posts, tweets and the like, although some people, like me, do put them on their platform homepages during an election. But this does not guarantee that people will always be able to see them. To be honest, I'm not sure if anyone notices the imprint on a leaflet anyway, because it is usually in very small font at the bottom of the rear page that makes it virtually unreadable. So if a supporter writes an unsolicited Facebook post or tweet with no imprint, without a candidate knowing, and then goes further and pays to advertise that campaign using their own money, how does that get covered? After all, the candidate or campaigner is totally unaware of this activity. Is the candidate or campaigner somehow liable for something like this outside of their control? And can you imagine trying to use an imprint in a tweet? And that's just imprints. Now try the whole funding thing. And shouldn't the government have to register as a campaigner with all the associated spending limits if it's going to take a side in a future referendum? I see more arguments over imprints, funding and campaigning for years to come. Now, news came out earlier that BMW would be quitting the UK should there be a no-deal Brexit, with us leaving the single market and customs union. But when asked about this today, BMW UK boss Ian Robertson said, "We are not considering that as an option. We are considering what we would need to have in place to overcome such impediments to border fluidity. That's where we are focused right now." And he went on to say that it would be foolhardy not to have contingency plans, and that they had people working on both the customs and logistics aspects of such a scenario. Finally, the EU Council of Ministers has authorised the EU Commission to open formal negotiations with the World Trade Organization on dividing up the existing tariff rate quotas between the EU 27 and the UK. This means the EU, the UK and the countries that the EU trades with can start negotiations to agree how much of each quota can be transferred from the EU to the UK, possibly based on historical trade flows. Sounds good to me, if a bit late in the day. So, please let us all know what you think by leaving a comment below. Thank you for watching. Please do like and share this video. And also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.